Hello everybody. Welcome to what may become a fairly regular or irregular, just depending on how much time I've got, series of Warzone Resurrection battle reports. This first one is going to be between my Capitol army and a friend of mine, Michael's Cybertronic army, and we're going to be using the standard OOC 750 point battle. And for us, that really means 758. Michael and I have kind of long-standing agreement, and most people in our group that play do, and we go back to first edition Warzone, where we said you play X amount of points, but you're allowed to go 1% over, just because points never really added up exactly on the dot for us. So this is a 750 point battle, which is really 758. For my capital army, I'm going to try a very fast-moving, almost overwhelming force, and I'll be trying the airborne deployment for the first time, maybe in any of my Warzone games, even going back to first edition. So I'll be starting off with Captain Henry Thomas. For my tactical training advantage, I'm going to go with 31st Ironsiders. That's going to allow me to swap out a light vehicle and support slot, so I can get 2 light vehicle slots in the army. I'll then go with a single squad of light infantry that's 5 men strong, then a 9-man strong unit or squad of airborne cav, 1 orca, and 3 purple sharks. For Michael's Cybertronic army, he's starting off with the Immortal as his warlord. Then he's got a squad of 6 chasseurs, and every man in this squad has the optical enhancement and the sonicator receptor systems, so they all end up having +3 to RS, so they'll be very shooty. Another squad of 6 chasseurs that also have optical enhancement and the sonicator receptor system. And then he's got a support squad that just has 1 Attila. The Attila has the optical enhancement and also steel skin, so he's going to get a +1 to his armor value. And then here you can see Michael's army still getting painted, and also the output from the army builder file that he's been diligently working on. Okay, now we are ready to play. We had set up all the terrain, or actually I did, and then Michael came over to my house and we played. But we agreed on how the terrain was going to be set up, and then we rolled for the battle level, and we ended up with an alpha level battle. We ended up with the priority mission of seize ground, and then we rolled for our initial initiative results. Capitol got an 8, Cybertronic got a 15, so Michael is going to deploy everything first and take the first activation of turn 1. So you'll see that coming up right here, the deployment, and then we'll go through each turn of the game. A lot of the video is going to be sped up here, so you're not just sitting here for an hour and a half watching us push models around the board, but we'll have commentary through all of it, and hope you enjoy. And here you can see Michael's deployment. We're laying out our 6-inch battle line deployment zones here. In the center of the board, it's a little bit hard to see here, is where the center point of the convergence is, and everywhere within 6 inches around there is really our goal to get guys in and control that to win the game. And Michael is going to be setting up his squads and then his Immortal. And you'll see here in a second where everything is finally laid out when he gets done deploying. And then for my deployment, I'm going to drop down my Purple Sharks, my Orca, and my 5-man squad of light infantry. Captain Thomas and the airborne cav are going to come down at some point later in the game. We'll see when that's going to happen. Okay, and now we're going to get into turn 1 actual action of the game. And Michael is going to be going first, starting off with his bottom unit of chasseurs, and he's going to be moving them up on the hill here turn to burn back there a second ago to give somebody an extra action, and as they all get up on the hill, he's going to set up a mirage generator to give them some extra armor. That roll right there that you saw was to see if he hurt himself as he ran up the hill, because he used 2 actions to get up there, to run up there, and he did not hurt himself. The Cybertronic guys have a pretty hefty con, so running up or running through terrain or up hills and stuff like that, they're usually going to make out okay and not have to worry too much. Alright, now we have my 5-man squad of light infantry. They're just hopping from cover to cover. Not a whole lot going on there. And here we're going to have Michael's 2nd squad of chasseurs moving up. They'll end up deploying the mirage generator also. First turn so far, not a whole lot going on other than maneuvering and getting ready for whatever action we think is coming. Okay, back to Capitol here. And we got the Orca stepping up onto a hill and going to be putting some shots into the chasseurs just with one of the weapons, just the heavy machine gun up top. Took 2 move actions to get up onto the hill, or a 2-action move. And we took 1 guy down. We got the Attila hoofing it over more towards the center of the board, checking that he's way out of range for everything. And now we've got the Purple Sharks cruising up, trying to stay behind some of those big rocks. And then finishing off the Cybertronic part of turn 1 is going to be the Immortal heading up onto the hill too. So turn 1, not a huge amount of stuff going on, but pretty typical. First thing we did in turn 2 is roll for initiative, and Capitol got 16, Cybertronic got 17, and so Michael went first in turn 2. And that started off with his upper unit of chasseurs. They're gonna check range, see they're out of range of the Orca right now, and then they're gonna creep up a little bit more. Had a couple guys go on sentry as they moved up. We found out as we played the game we did a couple things wrong, but not too many things and not too big of a deal. We had a couple guys that were a little further away from the mirage generator to benefit from it. We found that out later. Had a couple guys throughout the game go on sentry using 1 action instead of 2. And a little later on in this turn, we'll see how I made a movement error with one of the Purple Sharks, but really not anything horrible. So moving back over to Capitol, we're going to move up the Orca, and he's going to fire into the chasseurs down there. And he did a 1-action move to creep up a little bit, and then he just unloaded with everything that was in range into the chasseurs. And that's some of the rockets coming down from him. Blast is very good against normal infantry, we found out. I didn't make use of any of my grenades that I could have from my regular infantry. I'll be doing that in the future because Blast is awesome. Okay, so you saw that chasseur, excuse me, saw that chasseur, wow, that's a mouthful, squad get dinged up pretty heavy from the Orca. And here we're making pinning tests, and they're coming out okay, and so they really didn't suffer anything from it except getting shot to crap. And then we got the Attila moving up, staying in some cover, seeing that he's still out of range of stuff. My light infantry hopping up again, getting more towards the center of the board in the convergence area. Michael's second squad of chasseurs are going to come down the hill now, get into what they hope is a better firing position. We can all sort of look at assaulting the hill at the same time. And here he's making some of those contests because he's running up the hill and stuff, but he turns out okay for all of them. And I'm checking range for my purple sharks. They're going to move up. And some sentry shots, I think, from Michael there. And then the light machine guns are going to unload over on his end. And in a second, we'll see where I did a move, shoot, move. So I screwed up there. But this turn saw a couple of minor errors between the Mirage generator range and that move error and some guys going on sentry, but really nothing that was game breaking or affected much of anything anyway, and you'll see why in turn 3. But first we're going to continue on with turn 2, and that has my purple sharks shooting, moving up, doing some pretty good damage. I really like the purple sharks. They're fragile as all get out, but they've been pretty good for me so far. And actually what I said, I misspoke a second ago when I said wait for turn 3 to see why some of the mistakes we made aren't such a big deal, but that really happens right about now when the Immortal jumps up on the hill and he aims and shoots into the purple sharks with his big plasma beam gun. What is it? It's a RB-12-19A, and holy cow, this is just an awesome gun. It shoots in there. Michael succeeds with all of the shots that spread through all 3 of the purple sharks, and it just obliterates me. So then by the end of turn 2, 2 of my purple sharks are down and just rubble, terrain, destroyed on the table, and Michael's done some pretty good damage there. I've thinned him down pretty good with mostly the Orca fire, but then also from the purple sharks before they got toasted, and then we're going to move into turn 3. Turn 3 starting off with initiative. This time around I got a 12 and Michael got an 8, so I'm definitely going first and going to try to put it to him. And turn 3 for Capitol starts off with the Orca coming down that hill a little bit and unloading again. Takes a one action move to come down the hill, and then it just opens up with everything that's in range again. And I think this turn the only thing it didn't fire was the shotgun, and then it just toasted some more guys. Really liking the Orca. It's turning out to be a real powerhouse. Okay, and after he gets done, we've got the Attila taking a shot at the Orca, and it bounced off, didn't do anything. My last purple shark moved up and took some shots. And killed another chasseur. And then Michael's unit of chasseurs went next, and they took down the last purple shark. And then, sorry, in between then, my light infantry, no, not yet, sorry about that, I jumped the gun. After the chasseurs took out my last purple shark, he does some maneuvering, and now my light infantry move up the hill towards the convergence, and then the immortal is going to try to shoot them with his big plasma gun and toast all of them. And here we're looking at range and line of sights and stuff, and he fires and rolls a 20. It was awesome, just not for Michael. And then we got into turn 4. Initiative for this turn saw an 18 for Capitol and a 16 for Cybertronic, so everything was really coming up really good for me late in the game when it needed to. And I started off turn 4 bringing the Orca forward a little bit more and unloading again, and I can't say enough good things about the Orca. It just shot the yogurt out of everything. It's all-star of the game for me, and I can't wait to play another game and maybe put 2 in an army. It's just brutal beyond belief, and it shrugged off everything that was getting thrown at it, so it's very, very good. I suspect that the advanced game is going to tone it down a little bit, where opponents have a little more ability to deal with some bigger stuff. At least that's what I think. Won't know that until we play for sure, but it was just awesome. So now we got Michael's chasseurs moving up the hill, trying to deny me the convergence. And then got my light infantry guys hoofing it up there, and they're trying to put some shots into the chass that are there on the other side of that ridge a little bit. But they're not proving to be super effective as far as the firefight that's going on up there, but they don't really need to be right now. And then we're going to have Michael's Immortal going in just a second, and he's going to shoot his plasma gun again up at the guys on the ridge, and he's going to roll a 20. And that just sucked. I felt bad at that point, but not too bad. And then to finish the game, I had Captain Thomas come down with the airborne cav, and you'll see them come in just in a second. There's the point where I want to drop, and he makes dropping so easy and comes straight down. He hits perfectly. Everybody comes around him perfectly. They unload on the chass that's closest, or at least Captain Henry does at the beginning, blows him to smithereens, and that's going to put me within 6 inches of the convergence point. Michael's not going to have anything close enough to deny it to me, so the other guys don't even need to fire when they come down. They just shoot their missiles off into the sky, and it doesn't matter. So got a big win for Capitol here. Got our end of game handshake, and I liked it a lot. I really am liking Warzone Resurrection. Let me show you a quick couple of pics of my Capitol guys that were on the board. There's Captain Thomas and his drop squad, what the hill looked like, and then over with the Orca and the hill again. So like I was saying, I really am liking Warzone Resurrection a whole lot. It feels like first edition. Second edition Warzone kind of got bogged down with all the different rules and multiple ranges and stuff like that. This feels very cinematic, very fast moving. I think the advanced game is going to be different in that it's going to have even more options and more strategy present itself in the game. But so far, we're loving it and look forward to next game.